Hey again, everybody. So today I have a quote that is kind of from a mix of different sources, and there's not really a individual person tied to it, but it is an idea that I've heard in or read in the Brendan Sanderson books that I've been reading, and I think I also heard it on a podcast a couple times. But I've had this idea saved in my list of video topics for a while. But it's the idea that when you see the finish line, you start to run faster, or that when the end is in sight, the heart finds extra strength. And this is something that in these past few weeks has definitely been I guess, thought that's been in my head as I am getting closer to kind of a large turning point in my life, and getting to some pretty exciting changes and kind of scary, but mostly exciting. And mostly that has to do with the fact that I will probably be moving soon, and I'll be, moving in with my fiance, and starting a whole different journey, like a new thing that I've never experienced before. And especially with like living with only one other person, and a person that I love and that I want to spend the rest of my life with, is just kind of foreign. It's very exciting, but it's also kind of weird because the for my whole life it's always either I've lived by myself, or I've lived with roommates, or I've lived with my family growing up, or things like that. And so this is just a very different step and a very different time. But also I have a few other things that are coming up that are also going to be very different, and that has to do with school and work, and trying to continue to balance things and do things in a way that makes sense for me. And but I realize though that as I get closer to these things and that anticipation kind of builds up, I kind of get that tailwind, and I kind of catch that motivation that, all right, like I'm close to this now, and it's kind of easier to let go of like my current state, and that I'm ready for that change, whatever that it might be. And so it's kind of cool to feel that invigoration, or like if I'm dealing with any issues right now that like they're kind of less important to me, or they don't bother me quite as much, because I know that this big change is right around the corner. And so in that way though, it is good then to always keep in mind what your end goal is, what your finish line is, because if you always have that in sight, then you can kind of catch that tailwind, and catch that extra strength throughout more of your time trying to work towards that thing. And I definitely see this too with any personal projects that I work on, or anything where I'm trying to build a specific skill up. And as I get better at that thing, or as I get closer to the completion of a project or anything like that, and I kind of see the full fleshing out of the vision or the finish line, then it's a lot easier to keep going, and a lot easier to find the motivation to not give up on that thing. And I think especially when it comes to like our personal health, and physical health and mental health, that as we work on those things, and like as we are able to see the progress and see our own improvement, it only makes us want to work more and work harder. And I think very little people will progress in something, see the progress there, know that they are capable, and then stop. And like maybe some people might do that sometimes, but it's like if you want to be the best of the best, or you want to get really far in a specific thing, and you catch that first glimpse of the full realization of what you can do, then it's just going to push you to continue in that thing. And I've definitely seen this too with over the summer so far. I've been working on a project with a couple classmates, and of course, we're not in class right now, so this is just a personal project that we all wanted to work on together. And I I haven't really done as much work as they have, because I kind of joined in on it after they had already brainstormed all of it. So I'm just kind of going along with what they wanted to do. But my main task has been to model things and kind of realize the artistic style for our main character, and it's like a space shooter, and so I'm designing the main starship, and that has been something where, like, I kind of made a first initial very basic blocked out version of it, but as I began to add more and more details to it, and I kind of pulled more references from like Star Wars and Destiny and like things that I think are really cool for like the spaceflight style, I just got more and more motivated to continue to work on that thing, because I could see the full vision of it as I continued with it, and having the thought that like this is a thing that I completely made on my own, and it's not like it's inspired by other things, but this is my original design. And so just having that thought is just really cool. And yeah, as we get to kind of not an end point, but as we get to that next checkpoint, or we get to the quote unquote finish line, then we gain that extra boost, and we gain more strength, because we can then visualize and see the end goal there. And of course, in a very literal sense, for anybody that has done long distance running, or even like 100-meter dash or things like that, the closer that you are, then you have that kind of surge to push through, and not just run to the finish line, but run past it, so that you cross it at your top speed. And yeah, and it's just a great metaphor for everything that we all work on and that we all want to get to. So yeah, but things have been pretty good. I've just been working, and then I come home, and I either go to the gym, or I work on personal projects or whatever. And so it's been a decently chill time, and I've been much more on top of keeping things clean. And I'm probably going to be moving out next month. I've been touring a few new places to move, and so we're getting that all figured out, and it's super exciting. I'm very, very pumped to move out of where I currently am, and move in with my fiance, and kind of start that next chapter. And so again, I have that tailwind, and I kind of feel like it's moving very quickly, but that like I'm completely ready for it, and that I've been waiting for this thing. So yeah, if there's anything that you guys are currently working towards, and you're close to a checkpoint or a finish line in it, look at yourself and see if you do have that extra push, or if you're close to that point, or you haven't fully realized where the finish line is. Like take the time to assess where that is, and that once you can see it, and even if you break it into smaller finish lines per se, where you have a shorter term goal that is going to result in a longer term success, then yeah, allow yourself to have that extra boost. So that's all I have for you guys for today. I'll see you in the next one.